Okay, so welcome to the masterclass, the first masterclass for the Founders Flourish Embassy, which is the online community that I have. And this is the first masterclass that is being conducted, so I want to welcome you. I was saying before I start to share my screen that today's masterclass is not a masterclass of I am here and I'm teaching you all the things that I have done right or I have done well. But it's more or less an invitation to say, this is where I am on my journey, and I'm inviting you to join me. So I'm inviting you to go set. So it's a process that I am wanting to go through. And I said, you know what? Why not share it with others? Why not have the community participate and we do it together? Okay. Is that all right? So I hope you came ready, prepared to not just listen, because I think one of the things that many of us are fat on is information. We hear a lot of information, but doing it, implementing it is another story. So today I'm hoping that it would be a masterclass where we actually also implement. So by the time we're leaving here, we would have achieved goal setting. We would have goal set for the year. Okay, maybe you've already started planning it. Maybe you've already done it. So this would only move you further. And if you have not, then this will help you to get started. Okay. Most of the information I'll share, I learned from mentors, from teachers, and it's a combination of some of what I've learned that I believe is very, very helpful. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. So once again, welcome to the first masterclass of the year. It is my goal to have masterclass training at least once a month from the community. This one is free to all members, but some of them may not be free to all members. I would only be free to premium members who are the members that are on a pay plan. Yeah. So today's masterclass is on goal setting for success. Before we go further, in the chat, I would like you to put what is your most prized possession. You don't necessarily have to put why, but just put what's your most prized possession. I don't want you to start using your brain muscle so early on. Just put something in the chat. What is your most prized possession? Maybe you have to think about it for a minute. If that one seems a little bit too hard, you can answer the second one. If you could change anything in the world, what would it be? Once again, you don't necessarily have to say why in the comments. If you could change anything in the world, what would it be? By the way, I had wanted an indication of where you are located in the chat. I hope you didn't come to just listen, half tune in, half doing something else. I hope you came to really go set, okay, and to participate. And the last one, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you love to go? Somehow these will connect to goal setting later. But these are just general questions that I think gets the mind going and gets you thinking and gets us engaging. So somebody say, salvation, my children. Wonderful. Salvation, my children. Beautiful. L.E., I don't know the name of that person, but that's fine. Salvation and my children. I need others to respond. And if you could change anything in the world, what would it be? If you could travel anywhere, anyone should be able to answer this. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you love to go? Okay. I'm going to move on. And while you're answering that, this masterclass, we're going to talk about why set goals, common goal setting mistakes. We're actually going to goal set for success. And then we're going to talk about strategies for, success in keeping the goals we've set. I would have a brief Q&A if there are any questions, and also it's time to share takeaways. Okay. So real briefly, as I said before, I'm on the journey and I'm inviting you to join me on this journey of goal setting. But I'm a brand strategist and a licensed financial professional. I've been in business for a long time. Just a fun fact, I was featured once in the New York Times And my dream is really to create a community of 1 million founders who are millionaires who build successful brands and flourish financially and in their faith. I'm a wife and a mom. My greatest title is being a daughter of God. So why set goals? I see some people have some things in the chat. I would want to change all the evils in the world. I would love or like to travel somewhere in Europe, like France, Italy, or Spain. Interesting places that I think I would love to visit too. I can't think of a prized possession. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, thank you. Thank you for participating. So why set goals? As I was saying, one of my mentors shared that if you were in a car and it was raining and there was everything else was working fine, but it was heavy rain and your window wipers were broken. She said you wouldn't go anywhere because you can't see. And I remember actually being in maybe 2 or 3 incidences like that where it was hail coming down and you literally could not see the next car in front of you. And the only thing guiding us in moving and driving was the lights in the back of the other car. So without vision, we can't see. So if we don't set a goal, we don't have any goal, then where are we going? So the Bible says without a vision, my people perish. We don't have anywhere we're going. So it is also in life. Where are you going in this life? What's your goal? What's the vision? That's what I'm asking myself. What's my goal? What's my vision? So without a vision, we perish. We have to set a goal so we know where we're going and we actually can get there. It's like getting into a car. Life is like getting into a car and without a goal, you're just driving. So if asked, where are you heading to? I don't know, just driving. I mean, sometimes you can do that just for the fun of just driving, but over time that gets a little bit expensive and a waste. So we set goals to reach our destination. We set goals so that we can be a good steward of our time, of our resources, and the life, which is a gift that God has given us. When we remember the parable of the talents, we don't want to bury our talents. We don't want to bury and waste the time that God has given us or the resources that He's given us. So it's important to settle down and actually set goals. And we have to have clear vision so that we can have clear results. We actually have to set goals so we can have results. So we can know when we've arrived there. I don't know if you've ever gone on a long trip driving and you sit in a car. Sometimes it's so uncomfortable. Sometimes you're tired, especially if you travel with kids. When are we going to get there? Why are they asking when are we going to get there? There's a destination. There's a place that we're all getting to, and that's what also helps us. There are many reasons. I don't know. What else do you think is a reason for setting goals? Thank you so much. What else do you think is a reason to set goals? Do you think that setting goals helps you to bear the discomfort of the journey sometimes, right? The long waited time it's taking to get there. When we know that we're going to great adventures, we know what we're going to experience once we get to great adventures. And most people are familiar with Disney World. But you have like Tara said, going to France or Spain, you have an idea what you're expecting to experience or achieve or get when you get there. So because of that, you go through the hassle. You bear the long trip, whatever you have to do, because you have a destination in mind. So that's why we set a goal. But there are some mistakes that we make when we set goals. One of it is we have too many goals. I am very guilty of that. I have a goal from everything I don't even know. My goal book is like how many pages? So I learned that it's too many. So when it's too many, it gets overwhelming. And I know sometimes it's like, well, I need all of them. They're all, I need to work on this, I need to work on that, and we're gonna have areas. But even then we need to really limit it so that we can achieve those, have those done, and then achieve others. And then we set vague goals. I'm very guilty of that. I'm very guilty of that, right? I want to exercise, but we're not specific. There's no deadline. We don't have any dates. We're not specific. And we also set unrealistic goals. Unrealistic. I mean, it's good to dream big. So in this case, it's not like we can't dream big. We can dream big. Those are dreams. So when it comes to dreams, we want to dream big. When it comes to setting a goal, we want to set a realistic goal. I hope that makes sense. When it comes to dreaming, we should dream big. But when it comes to setting goals, we should have realistic goals. So like my dream for my community of 1 million, when I'm setting my goal, obviously it's not going to be a million people in a day or in a month or even in a year, right? But I can dream big. But I set realistic goals, and then we don't write them down. We don't write them down. I don't know if it's ever happened to you. When you write something down, you find out that you actually achieve it. You actually, your to-do list that you actually write, not think, you actually achieve it. And then I learned from this other mentor of mine that we keep it out of sight. We need to keep it in front of us. And then we don't have a why and we don't have a reason. I learned from another teacher that we need to put our why and the reason for why that goal. And then I also learned that we need to put actionable steps. What is going to take to fulfill this goal? So if we have a goal and it's so many, it's vague, we're not really specific, we don't have a deadline, it's like, it's a dream, it's not a goal. We don't write it down, we're not looking at it, so we're not reminded. And then we don't really have a reason, the driving force. And then actually we didn't have steps. We don't have steps to achieving it. Yeah. So I hope you're ready now. Goal setting. So we start with dreams. So what are your dreams? Imagine your life 1 year from today, 5 years from today. What can you imagine? What can you imagine? What's your dream? What would need to happen for this to be your statement? For an example, this was an amazing 2025. So we're thinking of our dream, and then we're thinking about 1 year. So this is January 24. By the time we're saying Happy New Year, from today, or 5 years, in 5 years, it will be what year? 2026, 27, 28, 29. Oh, 2030. 2030. By 2030, what are the things that will need to happen for you to say, this has been the greatest 5 years thus far? Or in 1 year from today, this was an awesome, amazing year. And as I said, we have a lot of information. So many times we just listen and then we go on, and I want us to actually set some goals. What will need to happen? What are the things that need to happen for you to say that this is an incredible year? And I'm going to guide you towards some areas, okay? So as we start to think about answering that question, I want you to limit it to 7 to 10 goals. So remember the question said, what will need to happen for this year to be an amazing year, or 5 years from now for you to look back and say, yes. Okay, so we have a dream, then now we're setting a goal. So dreams are more long-term. Dreams are more big, and goals are more short-term. Okay, so if the dream is to travel the world, the goal will be to visit one particular place this year. That's just an example. Her dream is to travel around the world, to travel to so many places, wherever she wants to go. I think there's a word they have for it, or a description. But the goal, which will be more short-term. So now we're setting goals. And for the sake of maybe this masterclass, let's limit it to 1 year. Within the next year, let's set goals, because I want us to work towards fulfilling them. So what will be the activities? We're going to talk about that. Set a deadline. I'll come back to activities, but set a deadline. So my dream is to travel the world. My goal this year is to travel, put a destination, a place you want to go to, by when. So some of the goals are going to be by December, But not every goal should be by December, because then we're waiting for the end of the year before. You can make the goals to have a shorter time. And then we need to write them down. We need to actually write them down. Remember those mistakes that we talked about? We don't want to make those mistakes. And then we're going to visualize and imagine it. And what can help us to do that is to create a vision board. So I may go back and forth to some slides, because some of the things that we talked about in this, we don't want this. We don't want vague goals. We don't want, dreams can be unreal, like far stretch big goals, but our goals for the year, we want it to be realistic. Okay. And when we talked about the actions, is what are we going to do? So what is an action that one can take towards fulfilling the goal of visiting a destination this year? And somebody put in the chat. What is one action that one can take towards that? If my goal is to visit, go to Hawaii, I don't know, or to visit, let's say, to visit Canada, what would be one of the activities that I would need to do towards fulfilling that goal? We've written it down. We have 7 to 10 goals. What are the activities that need to follow those goals? So if I want to increase my brand awareness, and I want to gain 250 more followers, let's just say, or 500 followers, what do I need to do? For an example, maybe post regularly or post every day, maybe show up on live, right? So those are some of the actions that we'll need to follow. If I want to publish a book, become an author this year, what are some activities I need to follow? I need to maybe write a chapter per month, depending on how many chapters they are, or I give myself, write a chapter or write this many pages every week. So that those are the activities, okay? And then when we finish all of these, we're going to actually, something that I'm working on creating is a vision board, to actually have visuals of those goals that we have made and put them where we can see them. But before we even create that vision board, there's something else that I'm going to challenge you to do, which is actually something that is going to be a challenge in our community, which is to write these goals down every day. Every day you rewrite them. Every day you rewrite them, you're reminding yourself that this is what you're working towards. These are your goals. So goal setting for success. Some of the areas that we can have a goal for, perhaps we can have a goal for our faith. What's your faith goal? I know my faith goal is to read the entire Bible this year. That's just, let's say, a faith goal. Because in reading the Bible, I'm wanting to also know God more, know more of God's word. My goal is to go to California by my birthday in August. Awesome. I will need to save up money for the trip, make more money this year. I will need to plan criteria for the trip. Good. You're on your way, Tara. Very, very good. You're on your way. Okay. The reason I say you're on your way, you got the place, you got the deadline when you want to do that, and you have an action. You have an activity that you need to do towards that. Okay. So there's 1 or 2 things that you will still answer concerning what you've written. Okay. But that's also that's your goal falls under the category of a fun goal. So as we're making our goals, what's your faith goal? What's your mental or personal development goal? For an example, I want to read more. It's vague. I want to read 24 books. That's what, 2 books a month. So I want to read 24 books by the end of 2025. So that's 2 books a month. I want to read 12 books this year. That means that's a book a month, let's just say, right? And then we get even more specific. I'm going to read for 20 minutes, 30 minutes per day. Then we can even get more specific. I'm going to read for 30 minutes in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening before I go to bed. Okay, but mental development, what's your goal? Perhaps you have a mental personal growth goal. What about your body? What about a health goal? We can set goals for our health. What about our finance? What about our finance? So supposing you want to lose, you want to, like, I want to take better care of myself. That's not specific for a health goal. So you can say, I want to lose this much weight. I want to drink. I don't say I want to drink more water. Be specific. Every day, I want to make sure I drink a bottle, 2 bottles of water. Right? Exercise. I want to exercise more. It's still vague. I'm going to exercise for this and this amount of time. And then the finance. How much money do you want to have in your account? What's the goal? The finance kind of ties in with business and career, which comes up to what's your business goal? What's your career goal? Now, for business, especially, I have several people in different types of businesses. But let's say you have a plan to obtain a certain amount of clients per month. First of all, you start with maybe in the year, how many clients do you really want to get? I don't know, by a certain time, 3 months, 6 months, how many clients do you need to get to achieve maybe your financial goal? See, they are tied together. So based on that, then how many people do you need to talk to? How many people do you need to reach out to? So those are the actions we're talking about. It's not just I want to have $1 million or I want to have, this amount of money in my account. How are we going to achieve that? It's not just I want to get out of debt. What is the amount that you need to get out of debt? Being very, very specific. Do you have that amount? This mentor said that if Jesus were to ask you that he's ready to write a check for you to pay off your debt, what would that amount be? That if you don't have that amount ready to easily answer, then that means you're not really serious about getting out of debt. So even I want to have more money. How much money? So yes, Tara, with your goal, how much money do you need to travel to California? You try to now be very specific. What would you need to do? You could start finding out more information, right? Flight tickets, how much are flight tickets for the time that you want to travel? Okay. And then charity, giving goals. What are your giving goals? Do you have giving, things that you would like to support? Maybe people that you would like to bless, even family. Okay. Now, when we have done those things, when we have those categories of different goals that we're setting, remember, we have different categories of those goals that we're setting. Faith goal, our mental development, personal development, our health, our body, our finance, our relationship. Now, to be able to be successful in these goals, we're going to prioritize our task. More to my church, they do a lot of missionary work. Beautiful. Now with that goal, the giving goal, the charity goal, how much would you love to give to your church? Because more, if you, just an example, it doesn't mean that's what you do, but let me use a higher amount. If you give 1,000 and then you give 1,005, you've given more. So what is the amount when you say more? What does more look like? What is more? So you can be specific. And then we're going to prioritize our tasks, the activities to get to this goal. And we have to steward our time. If we're going to be successful in achieving the goals that we're setting, we're going to have to steward our time very well. We're going to have to guide it jealously. And we have to be able to overcome the obstacles that will meet us. One of the recommendations that she offers is to actually have a calendar out. And sometimes you don't even have to start with a whole month. of let's say challenge, where you can start with, for the next 5 days, I'm going to read for 20 minutes. If let's say mental development was one of your goals. So you start with the next 5 days, I'm going to read for 20 minutes. So you have a calendar, and every day that you read for 20 minutes, you check it that you read. So when you do it for 5 days, then you do it for another 5 days. See, so then it doesn't become overwhelming. But sometimes you can, life happens sometimes, and you're not able to continue. When the obstacle comes, you have to be able to overcome that obstacle and continue and not give up. And then you can track your progress. That's just what I just recommended, right? You can have something that helps you track your progress. Also, being in a community, being with other people who are also maybe trying to accomplish the same thing can help you. And then you can adjust it as needed. So it is not written in stone, and it doesn't mean that if you don't do it, oh my goodness. Okay. But also learn to celebrate achievements when you have achieved it. We have to commit it to God. The Bible says, commit your plans, commit your ways, and He will make it successful. Now, that does not mean, okay, God, I've committed it to you, get it done. No, meaning that God will bring about the resources, the people, the idea that you need to achieve that goal by committing it to Him. Lord, I would love to travel to California for my birthday. Then suddenly the Lord brings you opportunity. He brings you across people. All these things is to answer that prayer, but many times we don't realize that God is actually working to answer that prayer. So we have to believe. We have to believe that the goal is achievable, okay? And then we have to start new habits. That I'm learning. If we have big goals and we're not adjusting our habits to match it, it's as if we're not serious about the goals that we say we want to achieve. But the example that comes to my mind is, I want to go to Yale or Harvard University, but I don't study at all. I don't have any, I just don't. I'm just, so is that going to be, am I walking towards achieving that goal if I'm not developing a habit of reading, studying, So also with financial goals, if we're wanting to, have certain amounts in our in our portfolios, and we want to have a certain amount of money to even give to charity, then what are the habits that we're cultivating, that we're practicing, that can support that goal? What are the habits? And then are we in the right company of like-minded folks? That is very, very important. As I don't know who I was sharing with, that when I was around someone who was very health conscious, I found myself changing what I ate. And if you, just like if you find yourself around someone that is drinking a lot of water or exercising, you find yourself doing that. If you find yourself around people that are watching more TV, they're not into reading, you're going to find that it's going to be very hard to read, because even when you want to read, you're going to hear the TV going on, you're going to hear laughter. Before you know it, you're sleeping off. And then it's just harder when you're not surrounded by people of like minds who are encouraging you, and you see them doing it, so you're challenged. It's almost like kids. I don't know if you remember when you were a kid, but for kids, sometimes the best treat for them is to put them with other kids. They see other kids eating their vegetable, and they're like, okay, maybe it's not so bad. I mean, it doesn't work all the time. But there are many things that kids will see other children doing, and they want to emulate it. It's just natural. And I skipped this one here, that we have to determine to grow, which has to do with our habits as well. What happened to my habits bullet? It disappeared. So I just want to transition. I'm just make a quick announcement. I think most of the people here are in my community, but in case you're not, I do have a community. It's called Founders Flourish Embassy. It's online. I'm planning to do a lot more in that community. And as I said, is to really grow, help people to grow their brand. You are a brand. You may have a business, you may even have a ministry, but you yourself are a brand. How do you build that brand? And how do you build your business brand as well? And then also, how do you build your finances? Because as an entrepreneur, as a founder, many times we're guilty of not really planning and preparing for our future financially, where we have the goal, we have the dream of breaking and making it, becoming successful. But as we go towards that big dream, and as we work towards fulfilling shorter goals, what are we planning for the future? Because the years are going by. We're getting older. What is the plan even for the business? Will you always do the business until the law calls you home? Or is there an exit plan? When that exit plan comes, what happens? And even for career people. I was thinking this morning, I said, when people retire, they have to get a different healthcare plan. I think it's like COBRA, it's called, and that is to cover you at least, to continue to give you, very expensive anyway. But God forbid, if there's anything more serious, I don't know how that would play out. So what is the plan for that? So that's why I say you can book a free consult call. But to recap, we talked about why set goals. It's important. We cannot get where we don't know, where we don't see, where we don't have an idea where we're going. We're not going to get there. It's like you stop someone on the road and say, excuse me, please, I need direction. This is pre-GPS. And they say, oh, yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, where are you going? And you say, I don't know. But can you help me? They're going to say, what? I don't know how to, just like the king that said they should interpret a dream for him. Okay, what's the dream? You guys have to tell me. And maybe you're going to need a divine revelation to be able to intersect where you are going. So why set goals? Talked about common goal setting mistakes. Too many goals, too vague, no specific, no deadline, no actions. Why do you want to achieve the goal? Why do you want to get healthy and lose so and so pounds? For like the fun goal, travel to California, celebrate my birthday. Maybe that's the why. Okay. And then the things that we need to do so that we can experience success in achieving the goals we've set. One of it being committed to God. One of it being in the right company with the right people, changing our habits to align. And we actually goal set where we talked about the different areas. Okay. And $100 every Sunday. It says, I'm not a reader. I get distracted. I will say one book a month, but I need an audiobook. I think in the community, one community that we belong to, they want the hard copy. So I don't think you're going to make it far with audio.